Thank you, Father Custos. We have a lot of very interesting questions for you to continue the discussion. So the first one, someone wrote first, kudos to the Terra Sancta News, which is our news bulletin that is presented 30 minutes of news bulletin about the actuality of the Holy Land that is made by the Christian Media Center. And that person asked, how is the custody helping Christians in the West Bank and Israel?
In general, the custody is helping Christians, as I said, through education, providing houses, job opportunities, and so on. In this moment that is particularly difficult, we have to do more efforts to help, particularly those who are without job. And this means that we have to support particularly the Christians in Bethlehem, for example. And the Christians in Bethlehem, we are trying to support in many ways through our Latin parish. The parish has a specific office to assist Christians in need, particularly when they have difficulties for food, for health care, and so on. And we are doing a great effort to continue to pay the salaries of our teachers. In Bethlehem, we have 2 schools with more than 2,000 students and a lot of professors. Since the families are without income, they are not able to pay the fees, but we have to pay the total salary of the professors, and this is a way to support them. And all those who are our employees, we are paying 50% of the salary, and they are not working. But the law in Palestine is that you have to pay 2 months, 2 salaries, and after that they are fired. We prefer to continue to pay 50% of the salary, because otherwise the poverty is affecting more and more the families. We are helping and supporting also those who are living in other parts of the West Bank, giving the opportunity to work for us when we have renovation of houses and other jobs. We try to employ them before others, and this is a way to help those who are without any kind of welfare or assistance. We are also helping and supporting projects for children with different difficulties. In Bethlehem, we have an orphanage. It is called the Boys' Home. It is a home for children that have no family, or family that are, we can say, in very strong difficulties, and so on. This kind of support. The same is also in other parts. In Gaza, we are not present, but we are supporting the Sisters of Mother Teresa. They are taking care of children that are called the butterfly children, because they have a skin disease, and their skin it is like the wings of a butterfly, and other initiatives. So in Gaza, we did during this war a great operation together with the vicar of the custody, Father Ibrahim, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and the Ministry of Defense of Italy, and negotiating with Israelis, Egyptians, and Palestinians. We were able to take 140 children from the hospitals in Gaza and to bring them in Italy in 5 pediatric hospitals to be curati, care, and some of them in very, very difficult situation. One little girl was amputated without anesthetic, just to say what meant. But we are not helping the Christian presence only in West Bank or in Israel. As I said, we are also in Lebanon and Syria, and these two countries are countries in which the situation of the Christians is becoming worse every year. We have Christians in the south of Lebanon, and in these last Sundays they were not able to attend at the Holy Mass because it was too dangerous for the friar driving from Tiro to Dermi Mass. Just an example. In Syria, the social activities are a lot and are not only for Christians but also for Muslims. And this is important because we want to create an environment in which there is reciprocal trust. And if we express love, we gain trust. If we reject the others, we obtain hate and bad feelings. And so this is the situation. And the church itself in the Holy Land is a very complex reality. I give you an example. My jurisdiction is bigger than the jurisdiction of the Patriarchate. But just to understand the complexity of the Latin Patriarchate, that means Israel, Palestine, Jordan, and Cyprus. In the Latin Patriarchate, in the Latin community, in the Roman Catholic community, you have a majority of Arabic-speaking Christians. These are the descendants of the Christians that there were since the beginning. You have a small Hebrew-speaking community, Jewish people and the migrant workers that are Hebrew-speaking, and they celebrate in Hebrew. You have Greek-speaking people in Cyprus. You have a lot of migrant workers. I think that 1/3 of our Christians are migrant workers in this moment in the Holy Land, 1/3 of the Latin Patriarchate. And so you have a lot of people coming from different nations and trying to integrate themselves. And we have, this is the maximum of the tension. We have Christians in Gaza under bombardment, and we have Christians in the army fighting in Gaza. And so it is very difficult to maintain a balance, to help the Christians to continue to be people of peace and so on. And one of the things that the Patriarch said recently, he visited Gaza and the small Christian community, and he told that he was touched by the fact that the Christians in Gaza kept their hearts free from hatred. And he told me, believe me, this is the miracle that I have seen in Gaza.
Speaking of the Latin Patriarchate, with the war, what collaboration is the custody doing with the Latin Patriarchate, the Greek Orthodox, and the Armenians to address all the troubles now being faced in the Holy Land?
The collaboration is through the coordination. That means that, for example, in Gaza, after the destruction of the structures of the Greek Orthodox parishes, the majority of the Greek Orthodoxies came to the Latin parish, and they were welcomed in the Latin parish, and the Latin parish is taking care of the Latins and of the Greeks in this case. A small amount of them remained in the remaining structure. There is a cooperation when we meet and we understand that each one of us has to take care of part of this flock. And so if there are those who are taking care particularly for the Christians living in Gaza, we know that it is our duty to take care particularly of those who are living in the West Bank, because the parish of Bethlehem is under our care. The parish of Jericho is under our care. And these parishes are in West Bank, are in Palestine, and we have to provide support to them. And we have to coordinate together in some way. For us, it is easier with the Latin Patriarchate, for example, through the Caritas. We can operate in different places and we can give support together with the financial support, through the financial support to the different operations that the Caritas is doing or the Pontifical Mission is doing. And so I can say that the cooperation is through coordination, because otherwise it could happen that in one place you have an overflow of help, and in another place you have a lack of resources.
What can Christians in the West learn from the Christians in the Holy Land with regard to peacemaking? And how can we do more for their sake?
I think that what the Christians in the Western countries can learn from the Christians of the Holy Land is that the most important thing is not the number, but faith, feeling of belonging to Jesus Christ. One thing that I experienced in the Holy Land is that the Holy Land is, for me, the most ecumenical place in the world, because in the Holy Land, as some told, the Christians are united despite the fact that the churches are divided. And so I think that we have an ecumenical way of life that is strictly connected to the life of the normal people. Father Ranzi, he is from Jerusalem, and his family, I can say, is an ecumenical family. Your father was Latin, your mother Greek Orthodox, your sister Copts, and so you can understand that for me this is the most important thing that the Christians of the Holy Land teach. And they are very resilient. They are very resilient. They teach us that even though we are a small flock, we are able to raise our voice. And in these last years, many times, we are only, as I said, less than 2%, but united together with the Greek Orthodoxies, the Armenians, the Anglicans, and so on. We were able to obtain in many occasions good answers to our questions.
Yeah, you spoke about being ecumenical, but there's also a question asking if you think that the Christians of the Holy Land as a critical minority could act as mediators also between Jews and Muslims.
The Christian minority is a particular reality because to be a minority, it means that you are in between. When you are in between two fighters, which is the risk that both the fighters kick you or punch you. But when you are in between, there is also another possibility that you can be the bridge. And for me, the role of the Christians to be a bridge is not in what they do in some particular occasion or situation, but the fact that the Christians are peaceful people. And since we are peaceful people, nobody should fear of us. And so when I stay in front of somebody who is very aggressive, if he understands that I'm a peaceful person, he changes. He has the occasion to change. I think that we are a sign, and we are an evangelical sign in this way. And I think that, for example, in our schools, we are doing a great and tremendous job to educate, to be tolerant, to be peaceful, to understand how important is fraternity, and so on. For example, I mentioned the exceptional example of Magnificat. Father David was the director of this music school for 3 years, in which 80% of the teachers are Jewish and then 80% of the students are Palestinians, and all of them are Christian, Jewish, and Muslims. This experience is an experience that shows that we can do something to help this mentality of cooperation, of living together, of being reciprocally able to welcome each other. And this school was under stress after October 7, because at the beginning there was a reaction inside for the Palestinian students to welcome Jewish teachers, for the Jewish teachers to continue to teach to Palestinian students. But they were able to reflect and to understand that it was necessary to keep the war outside of the walls of the school. And they continued, and they are continuing. And for me, they are a good example. But also in the other schools, we try to educate in the same way. Of course, in the majority of our schools, we have to cooperate between Muslims and Christians. But we have the good experience that when we educate for 12 years people, the attitude changes. And we are trying, for example, to apply what Pope Francis said to the Church through the document of Abu Dhabi, that it is possible to work together and to build a fraternal world between Christians and Muslims. And we would like that also this same attitude be shared with Jewish people. Not only two of the three sons of Abraham, but the three. We know that it is not easy in this moment, but we think that for the future, this is necessary. And so, for me, when we spend our time and also our resources in education, this is something that we offer, and is something that we offer for a long term, not for a short term result.
There's only a few questions left. You spoke about the decrease of Christians in the region. What led to that decrease? Is it because there are less people professing Christ or choosing Christ?
The first reason of the decrease of the Christians in the region were the wars. Because after every war, a great number of Christians left the Middle East. Why? Because the Christians look at the Western countries as countries that are more connected, culturally connected with them. But there is also another factor that is for sure the fact that the Christians have less children for sure than the Muslims, but also than the Jewish. And this is also one reason. But for me, the reason of the decrease of the Christians in the Middle East was first and foremost the wars. Because as I said, before the war in Iraq, there were 1,050,000 Christians in Iraq, and now less than 200,000. And the same in Syria, 2.2 million, now less than 500,000. So this means that when there are wars, the Christians, because they are the small community, they are also the weakest community, and when they have to think to their families, they leave the country if there is a possibility.
We know that many Christians live by as craftsmen, selling souvenirs in souvenir shops, but now with the pilgrims, they have no revenue. How can we promote exports of those religious articles and to the churches, communities of faith in the US and in North America?
This is possible finding the way to import these materials. The problem is to have a market, to send the artworks of the Christians of Bethlehem is possible. There are companies that are specialized in this kind of trade. But the problem is that if we send the artifacts and we don't have a market, what can we do? And so what is important is that the church, the local church, understanding how important is that people can live through their own job, supports these initiatives. It is impossible to live selling these gifts once or twice a year. It is necessary to have a continuous offering. And this is what happens when there are pilgrims. When there are pilgrims, the shops, all the shops in Bethlehem and in the old city of Jerusalem are visited. And so there is a good economical circle, because those who are doing the artisans, they can sell to those who have the shops, and those who have the shops can sell to the pilgrims. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
I must say that here at the monastery, we try to promote. Someone told me last week that he went to our gift shop here, and he said it felt like a gift shop in the Holy Land, like if I was in Bethlehem, because we try to encourage these people, and so the things that we sell here are mostly coming from the Christians in the Holy Land. Only two more questions. Beside the war, let's leave the war aside for once. What are the most immediate concerns facing the custody of the Holy Land? What are some of the ways the Church can ensure the preservation and longevity of the holy sites and of the Christian community in the Holy Land? What can people here do to help preserve the Christians of the Holy Land and the holy sites?
Our presence is a 800 long presence, and so we never left the Holy Land. We stayed in the Holy Land when the situation was a peaceful situation, and also when there was a war situation. And during these 800 centuries, more than 2,000 friars died in a violent manner as martyrs, or because they were taking care of people with black plague, of cholera, this kind of pandemics. And so we don't leave the Holy Land, and we don't leave when there is war. We stay, and we continue to take care of the holy places. And we know very well that our mission, the mission that Pope Clement VI entrusted us in 1342, was to live in the holy places, to pray in the holy places, and to be in an international community. And this mission generated also the mission of taking care of the local Christians and taking care on a pastoral level. That is the first and the most important thing. I think that the greatest motivation that keeps Christians in the Holy Land should be faith, not other motivations. And from this perspective, also all the social activities came out. What you can do to support us? I think that since we are people of faith, the first thing is pray for us. Pray for us. Show interest for us. Because one of the feelings that the Christians in the Holy Land have many times is the feeling of the abandoned son. There is interest towards them when there are wars. This interest is for a short or a long time, but it is not a full interest, and so they feel to be alone. When there are no wars, or when there is no war, for the local Christians, the pilgrims are important not only because of the economy, but the pilgrims are important because when the pilgrim come to the Holy Land, the Christians of the Holy Land feel that they are part of a great family. That is the church spread throughout the world. And so this is very important. And so I hope and pray every day that this war will stop as soon as possible. And I pray that immediately when this war will finish, the pilgrims will come again to show proximity, to show solidarity, to show brotherhood to the Christians living in the Holy Land. Of course, we have also concrete and material concerns, because if we have to maintain 64 or 65 holy places, you understand very well that we have expenses. We are not a pure spirit. We are also bones and flesh. And so we need also a concrete and material and economic support. I had the board of the monastery before this meeting, and I told them, for example, that we have to support the monastery and the sanctuary of Nazareth every month with 200,000 shekels. You divide per 4, and you have how many dollars we have to send in this moment to Nazareth in order to keep the holy place open, in order to avoid to fire the people who are working for us, and also to allow the friars to live their life and to pray and to help the local parish, that is the greatest parish of the custody. And so these are but as I said, first of all, we need prayer. We want that the Christians of the world have interest on what is happening in the Holy Land, and in the according to the possibilities, also a concrete support.
And so we get to the last question that requires some background. Since the time of the Turks, all the churches in the Holy Land have been tax exempt. I mean, not of all taxes, but of commercial taxes. In the past years, municipalities in the Holy Land tried to ask for the payment of taxes. That would represent for us, only for us, something like $9 million a year. And it's for all the churches. An agreement was signed in 1993 between the State of Israel and the Vatican, saying that this question should not be touched until there's a comprehensive agreement between the two states that has never been signed. And recently, the main municipalities of Israel, Nazareth, Jerusalem, Haifa, Ramleh, Tel Aviv, all at the same time at once requested the payment of the tax and started to make lawsuits against the churches so that the taxes will be paid. So the question is, how is the custody dealing with the issue of taxation of the shrines and schools?
The issue of the taxation is an old issue. And you know that every one of us would like to have the possibility to live in a world without taxes. But we understand that taxes are a consequence of the original sin. And during the history, the religious institutions were free from taxations for a simple reason, because the different powers of the moment understood that we were not doing something for profit, but we were working for the goodness of the local people, particularly for the local Christian community, but also for the others. And we are now at a new episode, because this is a kind of movie with many spin-offs. And this is just the last spin-off of the movie on taxation on the churches. And I think that at the end we will be able to overcome this situation. The main point is that there is a negotiation between the Holy See and the State of Israel, and this negotiation is for the implementation of the Fundamental Agreement of the 1993, and the issue of taxation is part of the implementation of this Fundamental Agreement. And the part of the agreement was also that we have to avoid unilateral actions against the counterpart. And so for us, this is a unilateral action against the counterpart. We had a strong confrontation in 2018 for the same issue when we closed in agreement with the Greek Orthodox Patriarch and the Armenian Patriarch, and also with the support of all the other churches, the Holy Sepulchre, to have the attention of the whole world. And after that, the Prime Minister stopped the municipalities from this unilateral action and established a committee. And we went to the first meeting of this committee, but after that, the parliament was dissolved, and in 3 or 4 years, we had 5 elections. And so the issue went in the background. Now the issue is again on the stage, and we will try to discuss it. Usually we use also the argument that for the non-profit activities, it is absurd to ask taxation. As I said in my speech, in Jerusalem, we give 580 houses, more or less, for free. What is the amount, the symbolic amount? $10 per month? $100 per month. And usually in Jerusalem, you pay $1,000. So it is something that we offer to the Christians to keep the Christian presence in the Holy Land. And the same is for those who are living outside the old city. We don't apply the market price for the rent, but the minimum. And many times we don't, when there are economical difficulties, we don't ask them to pay. But this issue will continue, as I said. And the other thing is that the holy places are open for free. We don't charge a ticket for those who are coming and visiting the holy places. And I can assure you that the holy places have very high costs of water and electricity. But the pilgrims are pilgrims. The only site in which we ask for a small price is Capharnaum, because there is an archaeological site and the maintenance is very expensive. And I told also, when I met some people of the Israeli government at that time, that the income of the pilgrims goes to them more than to us, because all those who enter, they spent a lot. The income generated by the tourism in Israel in 2019, that was the maximum, was 24 billions of shekels. That means 6 billions of dollars. And 63% of these tourists were Christian pilgrims. We don't receive a 10% of these 6 billions dollars. So it is important that the issue of taxation be discussed and understood in the complex frame. The fact that we are a minority, no profit, that we are providing a lot of services, and that we are not doing business, but we are helping people.
So thank you very much for the Custos. I think we can give a great applause. Those who would have other questions, we will continue. There's still some food to share. There's a cake also with the image of the monastery that is for you to celebrate the anniversary. So thanks. And during that time, you are welcome to come and see the Custos and if you have other questions for him. Thank you for being with us tonight.